Have you ever felt lonely even when you're surrounded by people? Or maybe a sense of emptiness that you just can't shake no matter what you do? These two feelings, loneliness and emptiness, are often used interchangeably, but they're not the same. And understanding the difference is the first step to finding connection and healing. Let's start with loneliness. Loneliness is a signal. It tells us we're missing meaningful social contact. It's like hunger, but for connection. You might feel it when you've been isolated for too long, or even when people around you don't truly see or understand you. Emptiness, on the other hand, is deeper. It's an inner hollowness, often tied to feeling disconnected from yourself or a sense of purpose. While loneliness asks, "Where are my people?" emptiness whispers, "Who am I and why am I here?" Loneliness is relieved by connection to others. It doesn't take grand gestures. Sometimes a small act like a meaningful conversation, a hug, or even a shared laugh can be enough to soothe that ache. These moments remind us we're seen, valued, and cared for. The root cause of loneliness is a perceived gap between the social connection we want and the connection we currently have. It's not necessarily about being physically alone, because you can feel lonely in a crowded room if the relationships there lack depth. Causes of loneliness often include social isolation, meaning lacking a meaningful interaction due to distance, life changes, or circumstances. Superficial relationships can also cause feelings of loneliness, where we have acquaintances or surface level interactions, but no emotional intimacy. There can also be cultural factors that lead to loneliness. Our modern society often emphasizes independence over interdependence, and this leads to weaker community ties. And then also we can feel lonely because we avoid closeness out of fear of rejection or judgment. Loneliness is painful because it goes against our evolutionary wiring. Humans are tribal beings. Our brains equate social exclusion with danger. That's why loneliness can feel physically painful. Our body sees it as a survival threat. Emptiness tends to arise when external achievements or relationships no longer mask an internal discontent. It's quieter than loneliness, but often more pervasive, lingering even in the presence of others. Emptiness is different from loneliness. It's an inner void that often comes from feeling disconnected from purpose, values, or one's sense of self. Common causes of emptiness include unresolved trauma. Emotional wounds can leave a sense of a hollow detachment, a lack of fulfillment, living a life misaligned with your passions or values, disconnection from self, avoiding emotions, suppressing desires, or living for others can create a gap between who you are and who you think you should be. And then an existential crisis where one struggles with meaning, mortality, or one's role in the world can also lead to feelings of emptiness. Emptiness is not always fixed by connection to others. It often requires a connection to something deeper. This might be nature, spirituality, or creativity, which can start to connect us back to ourselves. When we step into these spaces, we begin to uncover meaning and wholeness. But here's the thing, healing emptiness doesn't have to happen alone. Authentic relationships where we feel safe to share our struggles can be a mirror that reflects back our intrinsic value. They remind us we're not broken for feeling this way, and we don't have to face life's questions in isolation. Loneliness and emptiness are not flaws, they're invitations. Loneliness asks us to reach out and find belonging. Emptiness asks us to look within and rediscover meaning. And connection, whether with others, with nature, or ourselves, is the bridge that carries us from these painful places into healing and growth. Now, emotions we know are deeply personal, but studies and anecdotal evidence suggest that loneliness and emptiness are among the most painful human experiences. And here's why. Loneliness feels immediate and acute, often accompanied by feelings of rejection, invisibility, or unworthiness. The lack of social connection is processed in the same part of the brain that registers physical pain. This is why loneliness can hurt as much as a physical injury. Emptiness, on the other hand, is more chronic and existential. While loneliness can be addressed by reaching out to others, emptiness is harder to resolve because it requires inner work and self-discovery. It's a silent ache that can feel insurmountable when meaning and purpose are missing. These two emotions can feed into each other. Loneliness can make you feel empty, and emptiness can make you feel isolated. This creates a painful cycle where the external and internal disconnects reinforce one another. So let's talk about connection. It's a popular myth that healthy people should feel whole on their own. That connection, whether with a partner, family, or community, is just a bonus, not a necessity. But here's the truth. No one is complete without other people. Connection is as essential to humans as food is to our bodies. We hunger for it. And when we're starved of connection, we grow lonely and lost. Just as hunger signals the need for food, loneliness signals the need for connection. It's not weakness, it's a call to reconnect. And connection isn't just about people. It's about the world around us too. Time in nature reduces stress. It sparks creativity and restores balance. Connecting with the earth can ground us just as deeply as relationships with others. The power of connection lies in its ability to address both loneliness and emptiness, and to even soothe shame. Connection meets our external need for belonging. Through shared experiences and emotional intimacy, we feel validated and seen. Meaningful connection, whether to others, nature, or a greater purpose, helps us rediscover our sense of self and meaning. Vulnerability with trusted individuals allows us to share our struggles and receive compassion, breaking shame's grip and reminding us we're worthy of love. Connection creates belonging, and belonging is what quiets loneliness. It's not about how many people you know, but about how deeply you feel known. Humans are wired to balance connection and autonomy. Too much connection and we risk losing ourselves in the needs and expectations of others. Too much autonomy and we risk falling into loneliness and emptiness. Humans are wired to move between connection and autonomy. Both are vital. Autonomy isn't about isolation. It's about developing a sense of self within the web of relationships you're a part of. It's the ability to say, this is who I am and this is what I need, while still valuing the needs of others. Sometimes we underestimate the power of small connections. A kind word, a shared laugh, or even a moment of eye contact can create ripples of connection, releasing oxytocin, the bonding hormone that strengthens our sense of trust and safety. These tiny acts remind us that we're part of something larger, something beautifully human. The key is to oscillate. To move fluidly between these states, we need both the solitude to discover ourselves and the connection to feel truly alive. Ultimately, connection reminds us that we're not alone in our pain. And that's one of the most powerful forms of healing. So oscillate. Seek out both connection and solitude. Honor the discomfort of growth. Reconnect with people, with nature, and with yourself, because connection is as fundamental as the air we breathe. And remember, no one is complete alone. That's the beauty of being human. If you found this video helpful, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and follow our channel for more content.